Uh, I do have them, I can look them up. How is the child care industry responding to growth? Okay, let's take it from there. We talked about stimulated, we talked about electronic, right?
Yep.
I know where to start. All right. And give me a 5. Okay. The question is, has the child care industry responded? Well, it's definitely responded in growth. The statistics today are that there's a 400% growth in child care centers. And it makes sense because obviously more and more families, almost 100% families in certain income brackets are 2 income. They need child care. It's become common today and not a different thing that was going on when I was a kid. We had a latchkey kid or we had this or that. It's just common today that there's a dual income in the house. The question is, what effect has it had? Yes, it is making the kids independent. It's making them incredibly independent at school. It's also making them extremely isolated. They say they're interactive, but not with each other. The great joke many times is, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. What are you going to do? We'll probably just sit and stare at our phones. So it's molding a different person. It's having a different effect on this new human, this new time that is coming about now. I think that things like housing care prices, again, in The Big Short and in the Keating 5 scandal, were they set up in order and in structure to do this? Well, if you know the Keating 5 scandal with Charles Keating and 5 senators, that happened in the 80s, to me it seemed like it was the first run. Anytime something this big is being constructed, such as changing an economic model, changing a pricing structure, you have to do it once first. If you're going to make a brand new cake or meal or anything for your family, you're going to try it once, not necessarily the night when 10 friends are coming over for dinner, right? You may try it the week before, may try and build it one time before. Same thing with this housing market. The Keating 5, if you don't know what it is, you really need to go take some time and find out about it.
You explain it. Okay.
The Keating 5, if you don't know what it is, was basically this. Charles Keating was a real estate developer, was a businessman. He came and he spoke to and got the cooperation of 5 senators. One of them, John Glenn, one of them, John McCain. I forget right now the other 3. The 2 prominent senators were John McCain and John Glenn. They cooperated with Keating to do certain work with savings and loans. And I remember Bryant Gumbel, of all people on the Today Show, not known for their hard investigative work back then, the 80s and 90s. He read the news out and said, this savings and loans, a Silverado, by the way, Neil Bush of the Bush family was also involved. Do the research, you'll see it. And he remembers he's reading this, that the S&Ls, the savings and loans, the mortgage banks, were willing to sell these mortgages for 10 cents on the dollar because they had bankrupted so hard because they were so overpriced. And I remember him looking up at the camera and saying, that doesn't make sense. Who set that up? And then the Keating 5 hit. It became almost as big of a scandal as the Too Big to Fail and the Big Short revealed. The Big Short was the epitome of how this became a true, oh my God, economic equation that even brokers and Wall Street people couldn't explain what a quant was. They went into credit default swaps, CDOs. They would bundle these bad mortgages in with other economic devices and resell them to foreign investors who wanted to put money into the United States. And when it collapsed here, it collapsed globally for that reason. So the monies all came into one point, they got dispersed, and countrywide, all of these different mortgage companies, the executives walked away with millions and millions and millions of dollars. And the homeowner got stuck. And then the family went underwater, not just the house. And then these two hard-working family members, mother, father, 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 mother, mother, whatever, these two struggling people trying to get going forward, are the ones who ultimately paid the price, and then so did their children. So at the end of the day, all of these 1980s and 2007 scams truly took the legs out from underneath the American public.
Okay.
I think I'm actually doing really good.
How did the child care industry respond to the growth? Can we do the what effects the child care industry had on children?
Yeah, if you want to do that separately. How is it, wait a minute, what effect has it had on these children?
Yeah. Give me a little bit more of a picture of
That typical child today, right?
yeah. So it goes in. There's a person. There's 15 kids. They're running around crazy. You hand them tablets to shut up. Give me a little bit of that and
See,
how that affects.
my
the child.
problem is my kids didn't do that, right? So I don't really know the space that well.
But do your best. Whatever we feel, that's when the
This is where
psychologist
this-
comes
right,
in. Yeah,
exactly.
but give me what
Okay.
you have so I
Yeah.
can have that as base.
Okay. As a teaching professional for 30 years now, I see young kids. I've also been fortunate to teach at prestigious summer camps where I have seen kids of very strong economic means, and then also kids that did not have strong economic means. It was a decent array, but what I did notice is that from my childhood, from my nieces, from my kids themselves, of course, the difference that I was seeing with these kids. And there has been an effect with daycare and childcare. One of my beliefs is this: you take a child that young and you separate them from the parents, you put them into a daycare environment. And many of these places are excellent and trying as hard as they can. But when you have that ratio of 15 to 1 and they're young children, it is extremely tough to give the same attention. And at that age, attention is definitely necessary. A family member used to advocate whole milk when my kids were young. And I'd be like, no, it's fat cells. I get it. But then later research proved that person to be right, that those certain kind of fats help the brain to evolve better. That same evolutionary process isn't just dependent on fat cells. It's dependent on nurture and motivation and environment. So the question becomes, you don't give that same environment, that same nurture and motivation that maybe a one-to-one parent relationship would give. Now you place that into a 15 person to one at that age. I'm not saying school age, I'm saying younger. And even in the earlier days of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those early years are so critical in the development of a child. Where you had a mother or father relationship doing something with this kid, now you have a 15th of that. They are trying, and they are good people, I'm sure. Friends of mine own these things. The question is, what effect? Now you take that kid who's allowed to primarily do what they want. Now you put them into a school environment, tough for the young teachers, tough for that pre-K, kindergarten, first, to really get them doing what they want them to do, to teach them. That's their jobs. And now you're going to send that kid back to daycare at 3 o'clock until 6, until they get picked up. That's tough again. Parents are exhausted, so maybe the parenting level drops more. Now you send them into a higher level of education, high school. Who's going to tell this kid you have to listen now? This kid has been on their own, mainly making decisions for 12 years, 13, 14 years. Now you're going to expect that kid to listen to what you tell them to do? Now take it to college, it gets even worse. Now put on top of that a very socially aware society where students, children feel more empowered today than they ever have. Now try and be a parent or an authority figure to that equation. Why did that happen? My belief, we wanted them to make their own choices. Manufacturers, capitalistic structures wanted them to be the one to go into the video game and to order all of those extra pieces using mommy or daddy's credit card. And you see it in the news and you see it in statistics over and over. $4,000 bill for Angry Birds. Whatever the add-ons were, not the game, that's why they're free. The oldest model in the world is give them the razor and sell them the blades. And that's what these free games are. Whether they're stealing your information or they want to sell you extra things that this young consumer is being trained how to do.
All right. We'll do one more question, take a break.
Yes, sir. Am I doing okay?
Yeah. I'd yell at you if you want.
Wow, this is, wow. Wow, I jumped into the next one. I mean, in the middle. This is, well, the reason why I'm getting excited is I'm kind of remembering the questions. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the back of my head. And subconsciously, I'm going in the same line that I did when I wrote. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm trying to be friendly and not crabby looking.
I think you're friendly. Or not.
If I'm going to be this much, oh no, Pat, we're going to cut you down to about 5 minutes.
That's a decision I made. Man.
You know what I wanted to really do too, in another time or whatever, is actually, why are you disconnecting my mic?
Oh, I don't like that mic. I'm just keeping.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna switch it back a little bit later, but that's.
Oh, you don't like this mic?
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get shots of me in different things, but not talking. No, God forbid, no. Yeah, no, like in the background while I'm talking, going, making obscene gestures. Like when they make a point and like they're all the way across the street, like, like they're in front of the institution you're talking about, like a bank. If we could get a typical bank somewhere and shoot footage of me standing in front like this, like Where's Waldo kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But you take the, daycare center, a school, whatever it is we're talking about, and I'm kind of in front going like, which could give that distance to the voiceover. That doesn't have to be this talking head voiceover.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyhow.
That's
Whenever
cool.
you're ready, baby, tell me where, I'm going to go with 49.
49. I'm at 39. What is
What are
quality
you
time?
talking about?
No, but that's the beauty of this is that like when
Oh, okay.
we'll write when the edit we'll edit without B-roll, you know what I mean? And then we'll sit down and be like, we
Yeah.
want this here, this here, this here.
Oh, he jumps 10 questions. Kinda. 39 and then 2 down are 49. Oh,
Yeah, well, these
that's
are big-
page
yeah,
49.
we're not-
Oh. I
Yeah.
can't believe I never noticed that.
Yeah, you
See,
correlate
that's the
them.
bad thing in my brain. It's like, oh, I got it. Notepad doesn't say question, it says page.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, what is quality time these days?
Okay. I'm not going to go to 42 then, okay? Because it's backwards. And I'm not going to go to 43 because I've answered those. I'm going to take what is quality time, put it
Yeah.
in here, and then the next one will probably be 49.
And 49 is
Gen I means that they're in it to win it.
yeah. Let's answer 39.
Yeah,
and
we'll
let's
see
take a
where it
break.
goes. Okay. So 39 is one of the best terms that I've heard over the years is I don't have a lot of quantity time with my kids. I don't have quantity of time, but I have quality time. And the point I like to make is all of my time is quality. And I get what it's supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean that when I do have time with my kids, I want to be there and do great things with them and not. Can you push that? Can you make that happen? Or is it something that evolves with a kid? One of the great examples of a really good friendship is not having seen the person for a long amount of time, seeing them and picking up like it was yesterday. So time is really weird like that. I just sat down with friends from over 35 years. I have not seen them. My old girlfriend's two brothers, we went out to have a little snack or food. I had not seen these two guys in 35 years, since 1983. It was like he went to the bathroom and came back. Within minutes, we were hysterical laughing. We were having a great conversation. I truly enjoyed myself. They were like my cousins or brothers. So what's this thing with quality time? I don't know. I mean, I think you can't force the kid, enjoy your time with dad, we only have 10 minutes. Is that gonna work? Stuff like this is organic. You can be with a really good friend and not talk for 4 hours. Not say a word. That was quality time though. I spent it with him or her. You can't force that relationship saying, when I have the time to spend with my children, I'm going to make sure we're at Disney. That's just bribery. Just remember the time with the kids was great because I spent a pantload of money and I took you to Everest. I don't know what that means. All I know is my parents passed very early in my life. I was only 41. My kids were young. That quality time would have been the years from 70s to 90s, watching my kids grow up, and not just the short amount of time they had with my young children, them doing spectacular things with them. I don't know, things that can be bought, I don't ever equate with quality. And to me, the most valuable thing is the amount of time you have on Earth, alive. So this concept of quality time, all of my time's quality time, and I just don't buy it.
So when Eli Manning throws interceptions, then it sucks.
Yes. Well, here's Philip's best point. You ready?
Yeah.
Philip goes,